Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Thursday, October 31st, 2024. That's at 3:15 p.m. Eastern. And you ask yourself, is it just me, or has time on this planet been greatly accelerated? It has been greatly accelerated. Because of the planet's spinning has been speeded up. We wouldn't know it on the surface. And what's the purposes of that? Well, through the collective consciousness, we're having a massive reconfiguration concerning light energy. And a lot of people feel it different ways. Some people don't understand it, which is, that's not unusual. And some people do. They embrace it. Say, this is fantastic. We couldn't have picked a more auspicious time to be in these bodies on this planet. Not in 1,000,000 years. Not in 10 million years. Not in 90 million years. But it's kind of like remember, and we listen when we meditate because we're not thinking, we're not using the ego mind, we're not interacting with all other people's thoughts, which we call mind chatter, mind noise. We aren't in yesterday and tomorrow. We're only in the now. And we get ourselves in a comfortable position. We don't have any outside interference, noises, barking dogs, children, whatever. And if you do, you put in earplugs and an eye mask. And you get in a comfortable position. And you become as still as a statue. And you focus on your breath rising and falling, with space between heartbeats. And that's it. That is meditation. It's probably the most powerful prayer that any of us can participate in with ourselves. Now, it may sound strange to some, but have you ever wondered what it would be like to be a flower? Right? On a mountainside, a hillside. Just for the experience of being a flower. Feel the sun, photosynthesis, feel your birth, leaves and the petals of the flower, fragrance. And just for that period of time, you're that flower. And so you experience the full cycle. Flower blooms, and then eventually it fades out. You could choose to be any flower you want. Rose, orchid, lily, gardenia, there's many varieties on this planet. But you've had that experience, see? So you experienced that you were a flower and what it felt like to be a flower. This is what we do. Many believe that all we do is, because we're a higher consciousness, right, than the ones that are in animals and trees and planets and everything. But that's not necessarily true. We have all been different forms of life. We have entered different forms of life specifically to experience it. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? How would we be able to create anything if we didn't experience everything? We wouldn't, would we? What would it be like to be a blade of grass? An armadillo. I mean, there's so many different... Now, all of these animals have what in them? Spirit, soul, collective consciousness. It's in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. That's why we say that life is God, God is life. Pure consciousness is life. Life is pure consciousness. We like to label things on this planet, and we go crazy with different names and everything. Not a bad thing. It's just that we get carried away sometimes. God is pure consciousness. We are part of the collective consciousness. All of our consciousness together makes up the one. You can call it the one God, the one consciousness, but yet without us there wouldn't be that. So we're all experiencing in different ways, in different physical forms, on a continual basis. You may come along as this matrix is continually brought down. You may come along and say that you would like to be some kind of a plan on another planet, just to experience it. Now, even we create all that so that we can experience it. Who's the creator? You are. All of us are. We are the creator. We always have been. But you can see you're not judging, remember. You're watching. You're observing. You can see how things have been laid out to cause us to believe differently. Whether it's through our eyes, our ears, our nose, the scent, the feel, and then we put things together and we view them as we choose to view them. So just about everything that we have been taught or programmed with isn't true. Like us being separate isn't true. Like everything being outside of us isn't true. It's actually the opposite. Once you pick up on that, you see, okay, so this, when I reflect this back, it shows me the truth. But when I view it, I know that it is a deception, and I know that on the other side is the truth. So it carries both. It carries the deception, and it carries the truth. Now, most of us won't go that far because of certain programs put into place to keep us contained with ourselves, contained with everything around us. Now, let's say that you realize, I mean deeply within your heart mind, that your life is temporary. Well, we kind of know eventually, right? All of us know that we will leave the body. I'm not really talking about that superficial. I'm talking about in life, every step of the way, we know that whatever we're doing is short-lived. It's temporary. We won't be here very long at all. Now, if we know that in the beginning, we embrace it, not from fear, right? Not from worry or stress, but a comprehension of it. How do you believe we would direct our lives? How would it be differently? Would we be in a hurry all the time? Would we try to get all kinds of things, experience all kinds of things like all at once? Like we were pressured to we got to do everything, got to do it now because we just don't know. Would it be like that? Would it be really hectic? Or would it be like an ease, an at ease, an embracing, a knowing? Because what we do is we're in the process spiritually of reversing the frequency fields from dark energy, which is yin-yang again, okay, to light energy. And I mean all over the planet. Not, okay, all over. Above, below, inside, outside. With light energy is deep eternal love, bliss, joy, happiness. It's not depression and worry and stress and fear and conflict and destruction. And it isn't any of that. We've been convinced in many ways that it is, that's part of life. Well, that's not untrue in a way. But imagine that we are literally being led by a Tasmanian devil. I refer to the cartoon, right? Some of you have seen the Tasmanian devil, right? He's a crazy character. He's running around slobbering tongue and everything in a hurry. That's our ego mind. That's where our pain and suffering and disappointment and stress all emanate from. Now, the gods that we are in these bodies, our center, our very existence in these bodies, is the God. It's pure consciousness. That's our natural state of being. We exist in an unnatural state of being on this planet in this very now moment. It is not something that is our natural state. It is something that is in our unnatural state. And why is that? It's because we aren't aware that the ego mind is our master. We don't know that. How can we know that? Does anybody tell us as we're growing up? No. Does anybody show us? No. Because they don't know. And those before them and those before them. So, the God within does what? Communicates with us at times, showing us different things to see if it'll jog us into awakenness on each one of us differently. And then some of us wake up. What does waking up mean? It means that you begin to realize that everything around you has been created by you. And this is heart-mindedness and not ego-mind. Total disaster if you view it from the ego-mind. But from the heart-mind, you begin to discover that you are life, of course, you're God, you're pure consciousness, you're the heaven, you're the kingdom of God, you're the creator, you're all of it. Yet, being programmed for so very long, we're trained to believe the opposite. Don't you see that? How many of us are trained to believe the opposite? Or fear the unknown. And where's fear? Ego mind. Heart mind? No. Doesn't exist there. You know that you're an ego mind when you fear something. And the fear is false until we give it energy. Till we focus on it, focus on it, focus on it, focus on it, focus on it. And then we take that fear, we bring it into our reality, and we create it. We experience that fear. Now, do we correlate that? No. No, we don't. It's like in the quiet time of this meditation, you ask yourself, how much do I love myself? Obviously, that's from heart-mind, not ego-mind, because you're in meditation, so you're in the now. You're not in ego-mind. You're not yesterday and tomorrow. So then, things begin to start snapping into place. Little bit at a time. It's not, a waterfall effect. And we begin to start picking up things. We begin to get a taste of what? How does it feel to know you're the God in the body? Well, that's when we talk about nirvana, samadhi, kundalini. That's God force energy and power. That's what that is. You experience that. You're experiencing the God that you are. That is absolutely, that feeling is indescribable. Now, I don't know how many of you have had that feeling, but when you get it, savor it, because it doesn't last long. We live in bliss. Can you be in the body and live in bliss? Yes. It's very foreign to us on this planet. That's foreign to us. Living in bliss all the time. It's one heck of an experience. Being in peace, total peace, all the time. How can that be when right now, in this very moment on this planet, you have so many of us not living in peace with ourselves? Conflicted, stressed, combative, judgmental, all that going on within us. I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying the vast majority. The only reason that is, the only reason that so many are out of balance is because they're not spending enough time or any time with who and what they are. Or even embracing that direction and choosing that direction. Because you see, you cannot be forced, manipulated to do that. See, it's up to you. It's up to you. And this is the true euphoric transition for the civilization. To be in peace with oneself. To be in love with oneself. As we do this on this spiritual evolution for humanity, what happens? Well, you create an intimate relationship with yourself, deep eternal love with yourself, happiness, joy, bliss, peace with yourself. You have forgiven everything across the board with yourself. No matter what it's been through your life, you forgive yourself. You embrace every aspect of yourself with an open heart. You allow the magic to just flow in. What happens when that takes place? The effect of it on others is spectacular, magna glorious. And it expands out. And others choose to start discovering with themselves. So you imagine a relationship that you have with yourself, deeply eternal loving, a very high level of respect, reverence, goodness for yourself. You see the difference between that being heart-minded and ego-minded. Ego-minded, that means that people become very arrogant, self-centered. See what I mean? But in heart-minded, it's a whole different frequency and energy. And heart-mindedness is where we should be. Not ego-minded. And that's difficult for many of us because, and it's not only difficult for us, it's difficult for all life, ego-minded. You know, when you're in the body of an animal and you're experiencing that animal, all of it, all parts of it, you realize how that animal operates. The animals on this planet operate for what? Survival. How, you know, to forage, to eat, to feed their families. You know, if you look at a wolf, mates for life, and they have the cubs, the little pups, and they protect that family, and they forage and find food and survive. Do they have fun? Sure they do. It's like us. What do? Well, we've gotten it so that we've created that everything is already made for us. You know, it's not like we're in these little caves, and then it's time to go get food. So we go out with our weapons and we bring down different other animals so that we can sustain our bodies to continue. Now, I've had communications with people that remember being a bear. I mean, very detailed. You know, how long they lived and when they had to leave the body of the bear. It's not unusual for us gods to enter other life forms, to experience them. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And knowing that that's all temporary. You could build a massive fortune, right? And then you leave the body. You take that with you? Nope. What happens to it? That goes to someone else. And then what happens when they're gone? It goes to someone else. It stays here. Nothing that we materially, possess goes with us. Now you've seen it in Egyptian existence, how they would bury things that the one who has left the body cherished and that were valuable to them. And they would put them in the sarcophagus so that they could take them into their afterlife, which was bicameral. We don't take anything with us except the God that we are. Now you can see on this planet how that's totally different. That it's almost like we believe we spend most of our lives worry, stressing, and fearing on not having, and then when we do have, we worry, stress, and fear on not having. It's like, have you ever experienced that? You worry, stress, and fear on not having, right? And then when you have, you worry, stress, and fear on not having. How creative are we? The more creative you become, the more godly you become. When your creativity comes to a climax, when each moment of your life is filled with creativity, you live in God. Osha. We're going through a lot of things as a species, these bodies, We're experiencing a lot as gods. One of the greatest shifts that any human being can have in this lifetime is the experience of full self-realization. What is that? What is full self-realization? Well, as always, there's many definitions which point to it. Ultimately, it is just a fancy word for realizing that the unlimited, all-powerful, omniscient self, who we truly are. This means we must choose to go beyond every idea, concept, and boundary which we've defined ourselves to be. Just go beyond it. And it's an endless journey where we not only realize that we are beyond this physical form all day long, yet we have a direct experience of it with everything and everyone. We feel and sense a reverence for the spiritual beings we truly are, that is not separate from this world around us. It is the most profound awakening process one can have, which expands within you every moment of the day, becoming an integrated aspect of everyday life. There really is no deeper transformation in consciousness that any human can have than becoming self-realized. The change in perspective is so completely radical and utterly life-morphing that nothing else can compare. Take the most profound experience of your life and then stretch it so it continuously grows and expands 24 hours a day. And then this is a taste of what self-realization is like. Your entire experience of reality is so different, it's as if you had an Eskimo living for 70 years in the Arctic Circle, and then one day you decided to pack your bags and permanently move to Hawaii. Now the reason, people say, well, what's so important? What is so important about that? It's not a big deal, right? The reason why it's so important to comprehend, not only understand, but also comprehend, how ridiculously different the experience of self-realization is because it helps the mind drop any possible attempts to formulate a hardened concept about it. What it actually is cannot be grasped by the mind. The more the mind tries to think that it knows what self-realization is, the further you drift away from the experience of it. There is no mental concept in this universe that can prepare you for self-realization, other than a perpetual willingness to surrender into the mystery and curiosity of it. Now, obviously, we would all like a formula for a way to live life that is more enlightened and liberating, right? Here, take this. The problem is that every formula that works once, it ain't going to work. It's not going to work forever. All formulas last for a limited period of time, and then we outgrow them. This is because the nature of our consciousness is meant to expand, become more flexible, and diversified. It is only through absolute surrender to the infinite, this infinite universe, can self-realization be invoked and gifted to you. And this level of surrender means you're inviting in the feeling that anything is possible, which means you must choose to let go of just about everything you've known to be true. That's not easy. It isn't easy to let go of our beliefs. Yet it is the only way we will ever find experience of being truly free. Ever find that experience. And no other way. Why do you think that so many of us haven't yet? To identify oneself with the body and yet to seek happiness is like attempting to cross a river on the back of an alligator. Mom Marisha. It's a choice by any of us. All right, you ask yourself, to begin this seemingly impossible spiritual quest for freedom, all begins with inquiring into the source and center of who and what you actually are. When you relax, meditate, and dive into the center of you, there you will first find the mind and its stories about you. The infinite experience of you is behind these thoughts about you. It comes from diving into the center of our presence, our essence. And there you can go into it for infinity. There is always another experience within the center of each experience. And eventually, this is how we become centered with our spiritual essence. In this life, it is always the most random, expansive feelings which redirect our attention away from who we think we are and towards rediscovering our unlimited creative source of consciousness. When you notice, whenever you talk about yourself, you usually refer to the words me, my, or I. When you feel into the experience of me, my, or I, what do you notice and perceive is there? Look for a long period of time. You must be infinitely patient with this inquiry because it is the first step towards uncovering the real you, the God, the pure consciousness, and is vastly deep and transforming. The longer that you can maintain a focus of inquiring who or what I am, the faster you will realize the shocking truth of who and what you actually are. So it's infinity. You discover, the deeper you go, more and more about the God that you are, the pure consciousness, the creator, all of it. It's continual. It's everlasting. Do we ever get to the end? Is there an end? No. We are endless. We are always. We always have been, always will be, ever, beyond, and forever. We're the only thing that's real, the gods that we are, the pure consciousness within these bodies. Everything else is not real. I know that's very difficult for the ego mind, for the mind to even come close to comprehending. When I say, right, omnipotently powerful supreme beings that never die. Never die means never die. We're always. Now you begin to comprehend how we can create all that we create. Planets, star systems, you need to keep going and going and going. Suns, solar systems, galaxies. We create those. Why the heck do we create those? So we can experience it all. And with the diversity and far-reaching as the gods that we are, which is infinity, this is why we want to experience everything. Everything. Not just a little bit over here, a little bit over here, a little bit over there. We want all of it. We created all of it specifically for that reason. Now, when we don't remember, we enter these baby bodies, we don't remember. So what do? Well, we experience life. That's what we do. And eventuality is that as your spiritual essence becomes front and center, you'll have immediate recall of all that you have ever experienced, period. Now, I'm not talking this lifetime alone. I'm talking about all of it, everything. So you could literally, and remember this is all heart-mindedness, you could tap into, okay, different lives and then depict certain things and say, you know, I haven't experienced this yet, so I'm going to create that for myself so I can experience it. Pretty much like that. That's what it'll be like. I haven't experienced this over here at all, so I want to experience that. You know how different it is, really? When you're in spiritual awareness of who and what you are, that's how it is. Not like now, where everything is like, where did that come from, and how did that happen, and why is this happening over here, and that, I didn't do any of that, something else out there that does it. You see how hectic that is? So in the quiet time of this meditation, focus on that. That's where we're going. And nothing will stop it. Not even ourselves, because we are becoming more and more aware, self-aware, fully, that we are gods, that we are pure consciousness, that we are all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever, that we create constantly 24/7. And we create and we create and we create. When you go outside, or you take the time, right, to slow down, and you just notice things. And you say to yourself, If it wasn't for me, I would not, and creating all this, I would never experience it. What a shame that would be. The trees that you look at, the wildlife, the people, everything. You had a significant part in creating that so that you could experience it, so that you could see and watch. You know, you see colors of the leaves change and, you know, the different seasons on the planet. Where did that come from? Who's Mother Nature? You are. Not something outside of you. And this is what we're doing as a species and civilization at this very now moment. We're beginning to embrace who and what we truly are. And that is pure consciousness, and that is the God, and that is the heaven, and that is the kingdom of God, and that is the bliss, and that is the peace, and that is the love. All contained within the God that you are. I am. All of us are. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath. In through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Focused on your breath rising and falling. Every feeling, thought, and sensation you have will never, ever happen exactly as it has again. Each experience is sacred because it is a doorway to discover divinity. Your mind may not always notice it, and might even label most experiences as lacking any divine foundation. Yet, this is just the mind slapping another label onto this life. Do not pay attention, do not pay any attention to it. Instead, open up deeply to each experience and explore how perfect each one truly is. Today's the day to start feeling the most powerful yet subtle movements inside of you. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, the following morning. And we will return here November 1, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. And we'll be here Friday night, November 1st, to continue our reverse aging health call and all the rest. A little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on outside of you or inside of you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.